Let me ask you something. Are you the go-to person in your friend group? The one everyone calls during a crisis? The one with all the right advice? The steady shoulder? The person who can somehow fix anything? If this sounds familiar, then you already know what it's like to carry the unseen burden of being the therapist friend. Yeah, you're constantly pouring all of your energy out. You're supporting friends through breakups, family drama, career meltdowns, you name it. But then, when your own world feels like it's falling apart, silence, right? That support is suddenly nowhere to be found, and you're left feeling completely alone with your own struggles.
Now, people might just say you're a great listener or the mature one, but psychology shows us there's something much, much deeper going on here. This isn't just who you are. No, it's a role you've learned, a script you've perfected over time. And carrying that weight is absolutely exhausting.
So how can you really tell if you're stuck in this role? Well, let's break down 5 key psychological signs, starting with the most obvious one. Your relationships are almost completely one-sided. You've become the unpaid, on-call emotional support system for your entire social circle. And this is what that imbalance looks like in real life. You're the one carrying their emotional weight, creating this safe space for them to fall apart in, but you rarely get that same support back. Here's the thing. Healthy relationships need effort from both sides. When it's all just one-way traffic, the only place you're headed is towards deep resentment and total burnout. Okay, sign number 2. This one goes a little deeper into your own head. It's when you start tying your self-worth directly to how useful you are. On a really deep, maybe even subconscious level, you've learned to connect your value as a human being to what you can do for other people. Think about that fundamental question we all have inside of us. Am I loved? Well, for the therapist friend, that question gets twisted. It's like your brain rewires it to ask, am I useful? You've learned that being helpful is your ticket to connection. It's the only way you know how to feel secure in your relationships. So, why does this even happen? Well, psychology often points back to something called conditional positive regard. This is a pattern, usually set way back in childhood, where you only got affection or praise when you were fulfilling a need. You know, being the responsible one, fixing a problem, or just being the easy kid. And this is why it feels so impossible to just stop. Your brain isn't just trying to be a nice person, it's running a survival program. It has literally learned to associate being useful with being safe from being left behind. It's a defense mechanism that's been wired in for a long, long time. This leads us straight into our third sign, and wow, this one really hits home for a lot of people. The lasting effects of parentification. The basic idea is you were forced to grow up way too fast, and you're still stuck playing that adult role today. So what is parentification exactly? Well, it's when a kid is expected to manage adult-sized emotions, like being a mediator in their parents' arguments or acting as a confidant for a stressed-out adult, long before they have the emotional tools to handle it. You learned how to be the stable one just to keep things from falling apart. And this creates such a painful paradox in your adult life, doesn't it? You got so good at handling everything, at always appearing fine and totally self-sufficient, that now no one even thinks to check in on you. It's like your own competence has accidentally made your needs completely invisible. So, what happens when the person who's always giving finally needs to receive? Well, that brings us to sign number 4. You feel this overwhelming guilt just for needing support. I know it sounds strange, but for someone in this role, actually receiving help can feel awkward, uncomfortable, maybe even a little unsafe. There's a term for this: imbalanced reciprocity. It's this core belief that you have to earn every single bit of care you get. The idea of someone helping you just because they want to, with absolutely nothing expected in return, it can feel totally foreign, almost suspicious. And what's that little voice in your head saying? It's probably telling you to downplay your own pain. You tell yourself, oh, it's not that bad, or other people have it so much worse. Why? Because you've learned to believe that needing help is the exact same thing as being a burden. So you just stay quiet, and the whole cycle just keeps on going. And where does all of this lead? Well, it all points to one final, unavoidable destination: chronic emotional exhaustion. This constant feeling of being completely drained, that's not a sign of strength. It's the #1 symptom of a learned, long-term pattern of neglecting yourself. Let's just walk through this burnout spiral, okay? First, you're like an emotional sponge, just absorbing everyone else's stress until your nervous system is completely overloaded. But because that pattern is so deeply ingrained, you keep giving, even when you're running on empty.
And the final result? Your mind and body just crave isolation, not because you're antisocial, but just to get a single moment of peace.
Okay, if this has all felt uncomfortably accurate, then this last part is especially for you. We've talked about the patterns, now let's talk about the permission slip you need to finally give yourself. It's time to change the script and understand your own inherent worth. I want you to take a second and really think about this. How many more problems do you have to solve? How many more people do you need to help or crises do you need to manage before you're allowed to rest, before you deserve to have peace? The answer is zero. Absolutely zero.
If you take one thing away from all this, please let it be this. Your worth is inherent. It was never, ever defined by how useful you are to other people. You are allowed to have needs. You are allowed to be tired. You are finally allowed to rest.